So, Dad, we have 6 minutes to get through this one, so let's move it quick.
Okay, we will.
Right? Hi, Dad. Welcome back to another episode of Dave and Andy's Honest About Life. How are you doing?
Hi, Andy. Very well, thanks.
Good to hear. So, there's a lot of talk about, younger people spending a lot of time playing video games. And, I know that you've had, well, 6 children of your own. When I was young, video games were a thing. I think Atari.
Yeah, Atari and Pong. I remember you playing Pong.
Yeah, and getting super frustrated with it and smashing the machine, and that was the end of that.
Very
But
good. That was
what are your,
awesome.
from a parent's perspective, I think this is really a challenge for a lot of parents these days. And maybe it's at one time it was mostly young boys, but I think there are young girls now that spend a fair amount of time playing video games, et cetera. What are your thoughts on the long-term ramifications? And maybe you would say, you know what, it's okay, because you've seen the evolution. You've seen young people spending time doing that and how that affected their career choice or their education. How do you feel about that piece of it?
That's an interesting question. I think a lot of the kids that have started at a young age, and now even as young adults, they're doing it. They're finding ways to make money doing it, and they're making a lot of money doing it. So I think it's been good, not just because they're making money, but they've learned how to use that and cultivate that knowledge that they have and that ability that they have, and it's a talent. So that's the positive side of it. The negative might be that they're maybe not reading as much, reading books instead of having that 15 minutes of reading. They're taking that 15 minutes to play video games. And in some cases, much more than that, obviously. But I think that would be the negative part of it. Maybe not the only negative, but the biggest negative I can see is that they're spending time that they could have been doing something else that might have been beneficial for what they're going to do the rest of their life. What are you going to do? And a lot of young people probably get trapped and then don't really have that exit strategy of where to go next.
So what would you tell, young parents these days about how to bring balance to their child's life? Because you're absolutely right. I imagine it's just so much fun, and it sort of checks a lot of boxes for the kids about entertainment. It's easy, you're not sort of exerting yourself out and getting dirty and all that. What would you tell young parents about how to handle a child who just wants to sit and play video games?
I would put a time limit on it. That's just the way I've done it with the family, is kind of put a time limit on that, and then spend that an equal amount of time outdoors. Get outside, and do something, ride a bike, whatever. But try to keep the time spent in the video game portion similar to what you're doing to actually exercise. Exercise, I think, has suffered a lot.
Oh, yeah.
When you were growing up, Andy, you were outside all the time.
Always.
And when I was growing up, I was outside all the time, and
Always.
we exercised. That was healthy for us. So I think that part of it worries me a little bit.
So finding a balance, say, okay, young people, if you're going to spend, an hour in front of the video game, in front of the TV, you need to spend an hour outdoors.
Correct.
That's the deal. And if you don't do one, you don't get
you don't get it. You get your video game taken away.
Yeah. This we don't have enough time today, but it really is an interesting. It could be an interesting conversation, the one about how our parenting has changed over time because we've had to deal with different issues, right? So
let's do that. We delve into that. Would be several episodes.
It really would be. It would be, and maybe we could even, provide some real interesting, useful thoughts about, what might work, what might not. So let's talk about that next time, Dad.
That's perfect, buddy.
As always, wonderful to see you. Thanks for sharing your experiences with us.
It's always fun, and thank you as well, Andy. This is a lot of fun. I love you.
Love you, Dad. Well, take care.